here again. I've been on holiday, so I haven't uploaded anything for a couple of weeks, but I'm back now, and this is my first layout. I'm scrapbooking a couple of pictures from our holiday in Canada last year. It was the evening we spent at Niagara, and we were visiting a craft beer brewery that we had some free vouchers for what they called a flight of beer. So we had our free flight, and we enjoyed it so much we stayed for another flight, and that's what this layout is about. So I've just gessoed a piece of white cardstock and left it to dry, and now I'm just backing my photos on some blue floral vellum there, because I thought the blue, we've both got blue that we're wearing, and there's a bit of blue in my dress as well. So I picked that out first, and then I've gone down my scrap box and picked out some more coordinating pieces of paper or cardstock to go with the photos to back them up. I'd had an idea for this layout, and it completely changed, because every time I went in my scrap box, and here I go diving down again for some more coordinating papers to pick up the colours in that gorgeous star and circle paper that I really like, and I've hoarded it for ages. And each time I looked in my scrapbooks, this piece of acetate kept falling out. You can't see it here on camera. It probably fell out on another rummage, but it fell out of the scrapbox a couple of times, and I'd had it for years and never really known what to do with it. And suddenly it seemed to be telling me something that I really needed to get it used. So I changed my idea and made use of this piece of acetate, which you'll see in a little while when I start sticking things down. So first of all, I'm just creating my layers. So I've picked out some pieces of paper that I want to use. I didn't use all of the ones you can see there, but I do use about three or four layers, and I'm just putting them on at the moment. And as I say, that piece of, I don't know where that piece of star circle paper in the orange and the blue, I don't know where that came from or who it's made by, but it's been in my box for ages, and I've been wanting to use it, and finally. So there's been a few things I suppose I've used up in this layout that I've had hanging around for a while, and I've finally got to use. So that's one layer, and then I've picked out this piece of is the cloud paper that I've had a couple of sheets of that. It's got clouds on the other side, and this stripy blue went rather well with the photos, even though it was a bit difficult to fit both pictures on because it was a bit of a funny shape and had holes in it, but I managed to make it work. And then I'm decided to, this one I did the gesso at the beginning, I'm going to use these gelatos, these blue gelatos. There's three colours there, just to do a bit of mixed media behind each of the photographs. So I'm just doing some stripes going down, just scribbling them on in layers. It's not really any real plan to it. I just did the three, and then I thought I need some more, so I did them again. And I just scribbled them across so that they were just peeking out from either side of my photograph. I keep checking there to make sure I've left a bit showing either side. And then I got a paintbrush and some water and just smooshed it around just to soften the colours. It works really well when you use the gesso in the background. It really just washes it across and it softens it up beautifully, and they just all blend in. And I really like that effect, and certainly one of those gelatos at least has got a bit of a shine to it, which it's not easy to see, but as you at the end when it's dry, there are definitely little shiny bits poking out from either side of the photograph. So I've done the one, and now I'm just doing exactly the same behind the other photograph, and so I'm just starting again, doing the same thing, just doing some stripes going down. And there we are. I've just about finished doing the watering, and I've got two areas there that you'll only see a bit poking out from either side of the photographs. And I'm backing it on this Dear Lizzie paper that I've had in my stash for a little while, and I've just got I've had a couple of these. I had one in a kit, and I had one that I'd bought, so it's time to use it. So I used it as the backing paper, and there's that acetate sheet that I've had hanging around for ages, for years and years. I don't know when I bought it. I've had it for ages. And the colours seem to go quite well with the photograph, so I thought, right, I'm going to use it, and I'm going to do another backing layer with this triangular shaped card. So it was a bit of a challenge to get both photographs backed by this paper because of the shape, but I decided if I can just needed to do it so that on each of the photos there's one corner missing, and it worked out okay. So I managed to find enough there just to back them with just a hint of the orange, because it picks out the colours in the beers that we've got in the glasses in front of us, and I quite like that. That just give it that final layer of colour. And all I did was I made it so that it just poked out either side, and we just had a corner on each side, on each photograph. You see it's the top right corner on picture of my husband, and the top left corner on the picture of me. So I thought that looked okay. And again, this paper has been in my stash for years and years, and now I finally got to use that up. So I'm doing pretty well on my scraps. I was quite pleased with that. Especially as I've just had a new kit, and I'm still using my scraps, so quite proud of myself for that. So there they are. That's going to go. That's where they're going to go with this piece of acetate. And those blue flowers on there, you see, are actually glittery. They're really pretty, sort of glittery blue flowers. So I decided that with a bit of leftover orange paper that I had, I'd make some more flowers to embellish the layout. So I think I'm just sticking down. I'm just going to stick down this photograph, and then I realised that actually I should, first of all, I ought to be sticking down my main backing paper. So I took everything else off, and I stuck the white cardstock to the backing, to the teal backing paper, and now I can continue to stick everything on. So I'm just playing around with this, trying to get the placement right. Putting the two photos on. I'm thinking, what shall I do next? And I think, what's my next? Oh, just sticking down the acetate now. I thought that seems to be a play. I don't want it to shift because it just slides about. It's so, with being acetate, as you can see, it slides about everywhere. So I thought I really need to get that stuck down before I do anything else. And then I know everything else can be fitted in around it. It's funny how sometimes you have something for ages and you can never seem to make it work, and then all of a sudden it just fits in with something you're doing, and it's just right. And that's what this acetate piece looked just right for this layout. And what I've done is I've punched out some flower shapes that echo the flower shapes in the acetate. And now I'm using some stickles to do the glitter around the edge. So the blue one is just a straightforward stickles, and the colour's waterfall. It's a really pretty blue. And that punch is the same, very similar shape to what's on the acetate piece that I've got there. And then the larger orange flowers, I'm going to stick those to it to make the blue bits are going to be the centre of those flowers. But I've also punched out some smaller orange flowers, and I'm going to use another stickles that I've got, a distress stickles, this one, and it's the spiced marmalade. So I'm going to use that. You see there, I've just done a bit of glue there, and then I had to, because it's quite thick, the stickles are really obviously take quite a long while to dry. So I put all this, when I'd done all my flowers, I had to put them aside for a bit to dry. So in the meantime, I did my so there we are, I've done the flowers, they're dry, and I've stuck them together. But I've also in the meantime done my journaling and my title. I've just got them ready to stick on. So this is probably the next day or a couple of days later when I came back to actually stick it all on. So there I'm sticking the two flowers that I've made in that corner, just to fill in that gap there really. And I've been rummaging about for any flowers that I've got in my stash. So that was the one I made and put the glitter on, and then I found there's another little flower. Sometimes when I haven't got anything better to do, I punch out a load of flowers in different colours, and I'd done it's a little felt orange flower with a gold pearl in it, so I'll put that there just to fill in that gap. So it's just a very, very light amount of embellishing, because it's already quite a busy page, doesn't need a lot of embellishments. And here's my title. It's called Another Flight, and there is a question mark there, and yes please. So we had one flight, which is in front of my husband, the flight of 6, and then we enjoyed them so much we ordered a second flight, which I've got in front of me. I didn't drink them all, I can assure you. I think I only drank one of them. And so that was the second flight of beers that we had. They were really lovely, really interesting beers, and we had a really nice time there. And we did have some food as well while we were there to soak it up. So I'm just using the Another is using the Pinkfresh Dream On letters that I got in a kit, and when I looked at them I thought they looked really, really funny looking letters with great big loopy bits and then really tiny letters. But I use them quite a lot. I think they're really effective. I really like them. And then I've just written some journaling on a piece of a piece of vellum that I've stuck in a frame there, so I could just stick that on, because with all the gesso I thought it'd be quite difficult to write on the backing on the card direct. So I've written on some vellum and put it in a frame. And then there's just another little embellishment. It just says captured moments, and that's also from Pinkfresh Studio, from their layered chipboard stickers from the Dream On collection. And a couple more of little flowers that I found in my stash that I just thought I'd stick on, bring the colours together, bring the orange down into that corner. I'm trying that. I've got a wooden flower there, wood veneer flower, and I coloured it with an orange gelato, and then I didn't like the colour, so I didn't use it. It was too bright. So now there were just a few more of those little punched flowers that I punched out, and then I glittered, and I'm just popping them around the page, just as a few extra embellishments, just because they were so pretty with the little glittery blue flowers. I thought I liked them so much in the centres. I actually got a smaller punch. It's the same punch, but it's a smaller size. Punched a few more, glittered them up, and I'm popping those around the page. And I think all that be left to do after that, I think I'm going to put on, once I've done these, there'll be some sequins that are going to go on, because I always need a few sequins. I do love my sequins, and I thought they go with all the glitter that's already on there. I think a few sequins are always a good addition. There's a couple more little flowers I put on there that I'd punched out in a different shape in the orange paper. So they've gone onto the middle there, onto the acetate piece. So just adding a few sequins around the edges, just to bring out the colours. A few orange ones, and I think there'll be a few blue ones as well to be added. So this was a really fun page. It's been a while since I've done a bit of scrapbooking while I was on holiday, but I haven't. Took me a while to get back into it once I got home. So I'm quite pleased how this turned out. There's a couple of little extra word stickers I've added that just says "Live it up" and "Stay curious." And underneath the picture, there's one underneath my picture saying "My favourites," they were our favourites really. So there we are. I think that's done. Oh yes, there we go. Few splatters. I don't always do this, but Heidi Swapp Colour Shine spatters in teal. Just a few little touches here and there. But that's it, very done. So thank you for joining me again. Please subscribe if you like this video, and I'll see you soon. Goodbye.